Let me ask you something very directly. How have your mornings been lately? Do you wake up feeling light, energized, and calm? Or do you already open your eyes with that strange discomfort in your bladder, an uncomfortable pressure that forces you to run to the bathroom in the very first minutes of the day? If your answer was the second, know that you are not alone. This is a much more common problem than it seems, and it's directly connected to urinary health, especially for those who suffer or have suffered from recurrent urinary infections. What many people don't realize is that this morning pain, this urgency to urinate, is not just a minor detail. It's a true warning sign from the body. When the bladder cannot rest during the night, you wake up with that feeling of tightness and discomfort. And if you've already been through urinary infection crises, you know this can be the beginning of yet another painful episode. That burning sensation when urinating, the fear of feeling pain again, and the anxiety of imagining when the next crisis will return. It all often starts with these small signals in the morning. That's why I prepared this video. Today I'll show you what lies behind this morning pain that ruins your morning. And, most importantly, I'll reveal a simple habit connected to what you eat before going to bed that can transform the way you wake up. It's not medicine, it's not a magic formula, but a natural adjustment that acts directly on your bladder, helping reduce urgency, burning, and even the frequency of urinary infections. But here's a warning: if you usually ignore these symptoms, believing that tomorrow it will get better, you may only be feeding a cycle that never ends, and it's exactly this cycle I want to help you break. So, if you're tired of living in fear of waking up in pain, stay with me until the end of this video. What I'm going to show you might be the key to having calmer nights and mornings free from the torture of urinary infections. Before I continue, I need your help. We have the goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers on the channel, and for YouTube to deliver this video to more people who suffer from recurrent urinary infections, I need at least 100 comments below. So go ahead and write right now in the comments, "I want to wake up without pain." This phrase will show me and the YouTube algorithm that you are also committed to improving your urinary health and getting rid of this morning discomfort. And, of course, take this moment to subscribe to the channel, because that's the only way you'll be sure not to miss the next tips that can transform your daily life. Now, tell me honestly, have you noticed how urinary infections have the power to ruin even the simplest moments of your life? Just that pain when waking up, that urgency to urinate, or the feeling of an always full bladder can change everything. Those who've been through it know it's not just a physical discomfort, it's also emotional. It's that constant worry: will the pain get worse? Or has the infection come back again? That psychological weight can sometimes be harder to carry than the burning itself when urinating. And the worst part, this situation is so common that many people think it's normal to live this way, but it's not. You don't need to accept waking up every day with pain, anxiety, or that urgency that steals the peace of your morning. Your body is asking for care, and when you understand this, you discover that there are natural and simple ways to help your bladder recover, especially before sleeping, when it should rest instead of overworking. That's why it's so important for you to stay with me until the end of this video. There's no filler here. I'll show you how small adjustments, starting with your nighttime eating habits, can break this painful cycle. After all, you deserve to wake up peacefully, with energy, and without fearing another urinary infection crisis. Did you know that the way you eat and what you consume before going to bed might be the real villain behind your mornings? Many people believe that morning pain, the rush to the bathroom, or even the burning when urinating are just the consequences of a weak bladder or another episode of recurrent urinary infection. But in practice, much of this discomfort is fed by a simple mistake most people make without realizing: the wrong nighttime habit. Let me give you a clear example. Some people can't go to bed without drinking a full glass of soda or having that innocent cup of coffee after dinner. Others prefer to end the day with salty, spicy, or processed foods. And then there are those who believe that drinking lots of water before bed will clean the bladder overnight. It sounds logical, but the effect is the opposite. Too much liquid just before lying down overloads the bladder, causes nighttime awakenings, and makes you wake up already in the morning with that sense of urgency and pressure. The problem is that all these habits directly irritate the bladder wall, encourage inflammation, and create the perfect environment for urinary infections to appear. It's as if you were fueling discomfort while you sleep, without realizing your own routine is sabotaging your rest. And when the body can't recover at night, the result is obvious. You wake up the next day with exactly what you feared the most: pain, burning, anxiety, and even signs of a new urinary crisis. The good news is that, just as some foods harm, others can be true allies. And this is where the turning point begins. Now that you understand the nighttime mistakes that may be sabotaging your urinary health, it's time to talk about the key to the solution. And I want you to pay very close attention here, because what I'm going to share may seem too simple at first glance, but it has a direct impact on how your bladder behaves overnight. Many people believe there's only one path: medicine after medicine, antibiotics, tests, and more tests. But the truth is that in many cases of recurrent urinary infection, the transformation begins precisely in the detail almost no one values: what you eat before going to bed. It's at this moment that you can prepare the ground for your bladder to rest in peace, without inflammation, without irritation, and without that torment of waking up in pain and urgency. The secret is in choosing foods that are light, soothing, and help balance the urinary tract overnight. They not only nourish the body, but also provide fiber, vitamins, and minerals that act as true protectors of the bladder. And here's the key point: it's not about eating a lot, but eating smart. A simple choice can make the difference between waking up calm or waking up desperate to rush to the bathroom. You must be curious by now to know which food can become your #1 ally against morning pain. And I'll tell you right away what the hero of the night is: the food you probably already have at home, but never associated with bladder relief and preventing urinary infection crises. It's time to reveal the hero of the night: the banana. Yes, this simple fruit, accessible and present in most homes, can be one of the greatest allies of your urinary health. Many people have no idea how much it can help reduce morning discomfort, ease the bladder, and even prevent episodes of recurrent urinary infection. And why the banana? First, because it's rich in tryptophan, an amino acid that helps stimulate the production of serotonin and melatonin, substances essential for ensuring quality sleep. And you already know, when the body truly rests, the bladder also has a chance to recover. In addition, the banana is a source of potassium, a mineral that helps balance sodium levels in the body, reducing fluid retention and avoiding that excessive pressure on the bladder first thing in the morning. Another essential point: bananas contain soluble fibers that aid digestion, preventing constipation, which is a risk factor for bladder irritation. That means less inflammation, less pressure, and more relief. For those constantly suffering from pain when urinating, urgency, or burning, this detail makes all the difference. And there's more. Because it's easy to digest and has a mild calming effect, the banana doesn't overload the urinary system, allowing you to sleep peacefully without straining the bladder during the night. It's like a natural shield protecting you from the torture of waking up in pain. Now, imagine starting to adopt this simple habit: eating a banana before going to bed. It's a small action, but it could mean the difference between nights of worry and mornings of relief. The first direct benefit is waking up pain-free. The banana, by helping balance the body overnight, reduces fluid retention, controls bladder pressure, and lowers irritation of the urinary mucosa. That means less urgency, less inflammation, and much more comfort. The second benefit is something few people connect: quality sleep. Sleeping well is crucial for the immune system, and a rested body is a body better prepared to defend itself against dreaded recurrent urinary infection. You not only wake up without that morning discomfort, but also strengthen your natural defenses against new crises. The third benefit is the impact on your mind. Anyone who suffers from morning pain knows how it can affect mood and energy for the entire day. Waking up without pain and anxiety gives you energy, confidence, and a lighter start to the day. This mental transformation is just as important as the physical one because living without the constant fear of the next crisis is liberating. And it doesn't stop there. This small nightly gesture also creates a sense of control over your own health. Instead of feeling like a prisoner of pain, you now have a practical and natural strategy to take care of your bladder. This changes the way you see your body and brings more hope for the future. If the banana is already a true nighttime shield for your bladder, imagine the power of combining this habit with other foods that also act as natural urinary tract protector. It's like forming a defense team inside your body, working together so you wake up without pain, without urgency, and far from the threat of recurrent urinary infection. A great complement is the pear. Rich in water and soluble fibers, it helps hydrate the body in a balanced way without overloading the bladder. Plus, its gentle action reduces urine acidity, preventing bladder wall irritation. Having a pear at dinner or even as a light dessert can boost the nighttime calming effect. Another important ally is papaya. It supports good intestinal function, which is directly linked to urinary health. After all, when the intestine works well, bladder pressure decreases and the risk of inflammation is reduced. On top of that, papaya contains antioxidants that protect against inflammatory processes that can trigger pain and burning. We can't forget pumpkin seeds. They're a source of zinc, an essential mineral for urinary tract health, and have an anti-inflammatory effect that helps protect the bladder. A small handful at night is enough to reinforce your defenses, and for those who prefer something more soothing, a chamomile infusion before bed can be a great complement. Chamomile has a relaxing effect, helps the body enter deep rest, and reduces the anxiety that often comes with urinary crises. The secret is to understand that it's not about stuffing your stomach, but choosing strategic foods that work in your favor. Now that you know which foods can be your allies, we need to talk about the real nighttime villain, those that seem harmless or sabotaging your urinary health and raising your chances of waking up with pain, burning, and urgency. If you suffer from recurrent urinary infections, pay close attention here, because cutting these habits can be just as important as including the right foods. The first one is soda. Besides overloading the bladder with gas and sugar, it acidifies the urine and creates the perfect environment for bacteria to multiply. In other words, it's like fueling discomfort. Another big enemy is coffee. Caffeine is a stimulant that directly irritates the bladder walls and increases urinary urgency. Drinking coffee at night is practically an invitation to wake up during the night or start the day with a full, painful bladder. It's also important to avoid alcohol. It dehydrates the body, disrupts fluid balance, and at the same time irritates the urinary tract. The result: more inflammation, more burning, and a higher risk of morning pain. Salty foods are also on this list. Excess sodium retains fluid, strains the kidney, and puts pressure on the bladder, especially during sleep. And here's a detail: even that quick snack before bed, packed with processed meats, can be a big saboteur. Last but not least are spicy or heavily seasoned foods. They irritate the urinary system and intensify the burning sensation. If you're already prone to urinary infections, these foods will only make symptoms worse. So, if your goal is to wake up pain-free and free from urinary crises, cutting out these nighttime villains is essential. It's no use knowing which foods help and which harm your bladder if it doesn't turn into a practical routine. This is where many people give up. They know what they should do, but can't stick to it day after day. That's why I want to show you how to apply all this in a simple, realistic, and uncomplicated way so your urinary health truly feels the benefits. The first step is to create a nighttime ritual. It doesn't need to be long. For example, after dinner, set a time to stop consuming excessive liquids, avoiding overfilling the bladder before bed. Then, choose your ally, like the banana, and consume it lightly, without excess. This simple gesture already signals to the body that it's time to relax and prepare for sleep. The second step is about quantity. Many believe they need to eat large portions to see results, but that's not true. What matters is consistency, not excess. A fruit, a handful of seeds, or a light infusion are more than enough to give the bladder the protection it needs overnight. The third step is consistency. Doing it once a week and expecting miracles won't work. Turning nighttime eating into a habit is what will ensure that, over time, you wake up with less urgency, without pain, and with much more energy. It's like each night laying down a brick to build a solid foundation of protection against urinary infection. And here's a bonus tip. Link this nighttime ritual to another habit you already have, like brushing your teeth or preparing things for the next day. This creates a mental connection and makes repetition easier. We've reached the end of this video, and now you know that morning pain, that desperate urgency to run to the bathroom right away, is not something normal, nor something you need to live with forever. What you eat before bed can be the difference between waking up in peace or waking up in suffering. You've seen how simple choices, like bananas and other nighttime allies, can transform your urinary health and even prevent recurrent urinary infection episodes. But I want to remind you of something very important. This change only truly happens if you apply what you've learned here. So, starting today, adjust your nighttime eating habits. Cut out the villains that only irritate your bladder, and make room for habits that bring relief and protection. Your body will thank you, and you'll feel the difference. Or, better said, your bladder will, in the very first morning. And now, I need your help. We have the goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers on the channel. And for YouTube to show this video to more people suffering from the same problems as you, we need at least 100 comments. Right below, I want to wake up without pain. This simple phrase will show that you're committed to taking care of your urinary health and will also help this content reach those who need it too. Oh, and don't forget to leave your like, because it's fundamental to strengthen the channel and motivate me to bring even more content that can really change your life. And of course, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next videos. And before you go, there's another video showing up on your screen right now. Click it, because it's the continuation of this conversation and may bring you the missing piece to take the next step toward mornings free of urinary infection pain.